Hello, testing. Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna have to get rid of that previous stream because it wasn't even recording my audio, which is stupid. Frick you. Not you guys. This thing. Why does it keep getting rid of the fricking mic that I want to use? Like, it doesn't save that for some reason. I don't know why. So dumb. Anyways, I saw this video. Made a little comment on it. I think it is a really well done video. I even linked the guy. Of course, you can see I liked. And I definitely think it's one to check out, but I'm sorry, I had to hard disagree at least when it started to get to Fallout 3 stuff and later. He is informative, but most of the stuff I don't like when you see a title like this and you think the video, I think he does say this is more on his personal opinion stuff. Um, as well as he's using like vampires and Vlad the Impaler and stuff. And you can see there's Nosferatu. He's like talking, whatever. I kind of forgot all the stuff he said in that part that contribute. I'm not going to harken on his first two Fallout games. I will not disagree with him on a lot of that stuff, but it was when Fallout 3 and such started to hit that I was like, okay, what's going on here? What are these picks? So he's including stuff that's like DLC and even like enemies that are not consistent throughout the game. They're in just certain dungeons. I don't think those enemies should count. And if they're lore based, when somebody is freaked out by something in a game, it is not lore is not going to be the first thing on their mind when they think of the scariest creatures. That is definitely not on my mind, and I love lore in Fallout games. I love lore in Dark Souls games. But you don't see me going, oh, this boss battle in Dark Souls 3, like Soul Cinder is definitely the scariest boss or the Dragon Slayer. No, you're seeing me say that that freaking centipede looking ass creature in those sewer areas in Dark Souls 3 are the scariest. You're not going to tell me those visibly aren't the scariest freaking thing in that game? And they're more consistent than one boss battle or something like that, or enemies that are only in one specific dungeon or something. So let's begin with this. Is this up? Oh yeah, it's very quiet during
After
the.
the bombs dropped, Vault 101
So what
began
is
working
this?
on their project.
Okay, this is the Garys. So this is just a specific place. Um, So what would I pick? I think he picks centaurs again. I will agree with centaurs, they're pretty freaky, but I probably would have honestly. So if you're gonna do DLCs, which I think he does an alien type later as number 1, yeah, he does one of these things. I do agree with this, but if you're including DLCs, where are a lot of the stuff in Point Lookout or whatever that DLC is? So yeah, like uh if you're counting DLCs, then that. Also, where is I would replace Gary's with I don't think Death Claws are as consistent in Fallout 1. I do think Mirelurks might be a little bit more. I don't think mole rats are very scary. I think ghouls should be over where Gary is because ghouls are more consistent. I think if there's any game that ghouls are the scariest in, they are scary in most of the Fallout games, but if there's any feral ghouls, I mean, not just ghouls, if there's any game that feral ghouls are going to be the scariest in, you gotta pick them for Fallout frickin' 3. They are the scariest thing. They have even an area that people will remember that is the most scary area with them. So, yeah, these guys are freaky, but they're not consistent and they're in a DLC is where you mostly see them. So, hell, I would have even gone with the redneck enemies in Point of Cat. But yeah, like there's even robot enemies that I would be more freaked out by, like robo brains and stuff. But like these, nah. Like you're pulling straws here. The Garys I don't think work. This is just going to be a short video. I don't want to harken on. I don't want to attack this guy's video at all. Once again, I think it is a good video. It is really good. I just think that the picks for the later games were a little
The
weak.
score
He does pick Death Claws for New Vegas, and if anything, I'm going to agree on Death Claws for New Vegas because New Vegas, even though they're not as consistently throughout the game like Fallout 4 would be, so they would technically be more scary there, but because of how fast and freaking deadly they are, I definitely think they deserve a spot. But he picks
Workers are
enemies like
reanimated humans taken over by an
these enemies right
entomopathogenic.
here for just us. These are enemies only in one dungeon of the game, and they're just not as consistent though, and I don't find them quite as scary. Like once again, this is a creature you need to have the lore to mostly understand why they're scary, other than the appearance, of course. But once again, there's enemies that I think I would be way more scared of. Cadavers, for example. I think cadavers would go good here. I know people wouldn't probably see them as scary, but bug that's flying freaking at the speed of light practically at you and can kill you and sting you, I think people have a fear of that more so than this thing. Like those things are way more scary in my opinion, and they are kind of like the equivalent of death claws for me. You know how like you'll want to sneak around and you genuinely like you see that one area where the death claws are, consistently like walking around and patrolling. Like you just think to yourself, "Oh hell no, I'm walking around that. Frick that, I'm not going through." It's the same thing with cadavers for me. I'm like, nah, hell no, I'm not going. I don't want to be spotted by those things. I don't want to fight them. They frickin' kill the crap out of me really quickly. So I think
Fungus.
those guys would
Originating
have
from
been
Vault
more
22,
likely
the
to
spore
put here,
carriers were
if
never
anything,
actually meant to exist. The
if I
vault was
did
designed as a green vault
something.
with the purpose of studying plant.
Also, he picked these skeletons in spacesuits or whatever. Oh, sorry, I accidentally
The Big MT has some pretty
moved
messed up
into the mic.
experiments housed in it, but the one led
Um,
them back to their home base in war. Despite what it would
going.
become, it was a
What?
medical and technological
Sorry, trying
marvel.
to adjust
However,
this
they never got
freaking
to see
headset.
combat.
I
See,
might
they were
need
still
the other one
prototypes,
to
and
hold
many
it
issues
down
arose
so
that were
it's
not
not
fixed.
doing
If a
that.
home base wasn't set, the suit would enter a wander
I
mode,
don't
just kind of
I
walking
don't
around.
think these I don't think these are scary. They're just skeletons and spacesuits. I mean, we see skeletons and everything else. All that's added here is the spacesuits. Once again, this is more of a lore thing. And once again, if we're counting DLC or whatever, there are way scarier things in the other Fallout New Vegas DLCs. Like, what's that one that's got dog slash god in it? Like, the enemies in that are way scarier than this guy. I would even say the Robo Scorpions or just rad scorpions in general. Ghouls, once again, in Fallout New Vegas are also scarier. Robots like the Sentry Bot, like I wouldn't mess with one of those freaking things. I would probably never put a human enemy eh, on a list like this, though. But yeah, like I don't think these are scary. What would I replace these guys with? So if I mentioned the cadavers, what would I replace them with? Um, so he's already got death claws. Uh, once again, I don't want humanoid enemies. I'll have to think about that as he goes. If it's gonna be DLC, though, I would put the guys with the in that DLC, um, the other DLC that I just at least mentioned the enemies and the certain character from Dog slash God, that Nightkin. Hell, Nightkins are probably scarier because they go invisible and then they frickin' jump you when you least expect it. Um, maybe the dingo slash rattlesnake creatures. I don't know. The geckos are also scarier than this thing, in my honest opinion. Even like them blowing fire at you and stuff. Like you just don't expect it. I definitely agree with
Hearing
the
the words
Deathclaw
Quarry
part.
Junction sends me into a
Yeah,
PTSD
Quarry
riddled
Junction,
episode.
like
The Deathclaw was actually
this is an
created before
area
the
that
Great
you're
War
just
by the
like,
US
oh hell
government.
no,
It
I
was
want
meant
to
as a
walk
cost
around
efficient
this.
replacement for ground troops in combat
They're
operations.
big,
They are descendant
like
of the Jackson's chameleon
posing
and other
threats
animal
that can
genetics. The
gang up
project was
on
an
you.
astounding
They're
success, but
so
we have no actual
fast and
record of
brutal
them
with their
ever being
attacks. They
deployed
do
in
so much
combat. Upon surviving
damage.
the Great War,
They're
the
just
Deathclaws were
freaking
able to
frightening, and all the different types of them. There's some huge ones in the game too. Like you just
escape
do not want to
captivity,
mess
quickly
with
spreading across the
Deathclaws.
United
So I
States. They are a
definitely agree with
bipedal
this.
species
This is a
created to kill with
huge
the utmost lethality.
agreement that I am agreeing on. Fallout 4, I'm sorry, but I had to laugh when he said rad roaches.
About how a cockroach can survive a nuclear
Look,
bomb.
he does a good job talking about these things. But once again, and I know people have fear of roaches. I'm not personally afraid of roaches, but there's another bug in this game that I'm don't have a fear of those bugs, but scare me way more than these things. These guys are too slow, they're too easy to kill. Um, blood bugs. We'll replace this with blood bugs. Blood bugs are way scarier. I would even say stingwings. And those both probably have equally as many people that are scared of them, if not more. Hell, I'm scared of blood bugs, and I'm not even scared of mosquitoes. Thank you, Jumanji, for bringing giant mosquitoes as a thing, and now Fallout 4 was influenced to freaking put in their game. But rad roaches, really? Rad roaches? I know it's number 3, but no. No. It wouldn't even be on a top 3 scariest. Definitely not. I don't care if it's glowing or not. Blood bugs. Blood bugs. These guys are as pathetic as bloat flies.
Well, apparently in Fallout
Moving
they
on.
can't.
This is not trying to be a hit piece on this guy either. I'm just like, what are these choices? That's what I'm like. And
Working
it's
at the
mostly
Institute.
just in the
After
later
stealing a
half of
pack of
the game, but
cigarettes,
not
Edgar
all
would
of
be
them either.
arrested, being offered a very interesting probation
All right,
deal.
so here's the problem I have. Swan. So I would say behemoths here, not swan. This is once again a thing you need lore to understand and what he explains. But even a behemoth, I don't agree with. I found them not very scary after a while. Yeah, I would probably avoid them at earlier levels, but I don't find Swan scary. Like, there are, once again, like, I would find the replicant enemies or whatever more scary. Like, the freaking glowing Pennywise yellow eyes, and the fact that their voices as well as their appearance are off-putting in the same way clowns can be to a lot of people who have a phobia of clowns. Like, yeah, I think those guys would rather replace this. But there's also other things, like once again, the Rad Scorpions could have made any one of these lists. Frickin' once again, blood bugs, stingwings, ghouls or feral ghouls, I should say. Assaultrons, even though people probably have a robo boner for them. They can be freaking scary to me. Like whenever I see a Assaultron, and they are more consistent throughout the game than Swan is, I'm just like, oh hell no, hell no. Like particularly the one place in the Far Harbor DLC where you're in the bunker area, and two of those things can come out of like this like locked off area once you unlock it, and they're invisible, and they freaking jump you. They run at you so quickly, and they do so much damage with their melee. They freak me the hell out. And then there's the fact that they're charging a huge death laser is just like, oh hell no, I don't want anything to do with that. That is way scarier than this. There, no, even sentry bots are scarier than this. Hell, there's Mirelurks in these games, and since the Dark Crystal is probably a lot of people's freaking nightmare-fueled Jim Henson movie, the Mirelurks do look like versions of the creatures from that, whatever those crab-like creatures were called in that game. Um, there's different types of Mirelurks that are creepy. There's also the fog creature in the DLC, gulpers, all that kind of stuff. Like if you're gonna include DLC stuff, those guys are more scary, more terrifying. Freaking Mirelurk Queen. Like there's so many other things I would have picked over Swan. So many other things. Nick Valentine's pretty scary too. No. Anyways, just something I had a bit of a disagreement on if we're going to freaking count stuff that's scary. Okay, what was his number one? Oh yeah, this is the paste, the pink
Bright pink
paste
ghouls don't
zombie.
necessarily seem scary.
So
That is until you
they have great lore, but once again, this is something you need to understand lore, and they are not consistent throughout the game, and they're just basically pink feral ghouls. Like, I want something scarier. I don't think of something being scary when it's pink. Pink is not a very scary color to me. I'm sorry. um, pink ghouls. This is this
learn the
is
story
this is
behind them.
frightening. These guys
Suffocate
are totally frightening. But yeah, I would have just said feral ghouls here if he was gonna go with this because they're more consistent throughout the game. This is just a pink version of those. And there are way creepier looking ghoul versions than these, as well as deadlier. So once again, I don't agree with this and the previously mentioned creatures too. Fog creature, bog creature, whatever the frick it's called, gulpers, the angler creatures, whatever. Even Yogwai, even Yogwai, even though I wouldn't be scared of them, but I would be scared at earlier levels just because I know they can kick my ass at earlier levels, and especially on if you're doing the survival mode, then it's just like, oh hell no.
County Charter School
But
was a
yeah,
simple
I
school
don't
before
agree
the
with this
war.
because it's the same situation as the Garys. It's like, nah. Let's see. Let's. I think I should. Now we're going to go back to the beginning because I do want to hear what he says in the beginning to see like um if he specifies why he's talking about these. All right, I think this next one was ticks. So this is Fallout 76 ticks. Um
Having grown up in Ohio, I know a good amount about
so
ticks. These
people are scared of ticks. I definitely can see that. It's the same thing as like cockroaches. Like people have genuine fears of those, but there are other creatures in these games that not only people probably have genuine fears of, but are probably scarier. So Fallout 76, I actually brought up a list here of things because I can't even remember most of the creatures, but I will say there are definitely ones way scarier and consistent than the ticks in this game. If anything, the ticks are more annoying. I would even find the freaking cave crickets, even though they're not scary, they are definitely things that like have killed me way quicker than a tick in those games. Once again, there's ghouls in that game, anglers are in it, death claws, and you're putting ticks over it. Now, if I'm going to say something that is genuinely a little bit more scary, um, so here we go. I wouldn't say hermit crab. I've taken care of hermit crabs personally. I think they're adorable. Even the frog creatures, like those aren't scary. Scorch beasts, if you're scared of bats, I can understand that. I'm not. Honey beasts, I can see people having fear to those the same way as ticks because they're weird looking bees and people are allergic to their stings. Um, Once again, gulpers in the game. I think the actual genuine things, even though they may not be as persistent, I don't think that the Grafton monster is very scary. Mole men are probably scarier than the ticks, but even the mole miners or whatever. But Mega Sloths definitely not. They're adorable. Mirelurks, same thing I said with the previous games. Um, I would say Snaily Gasters, Flatwoods Monster, and the Mothman creature. Those are way scarier. Once again, you also have the mosquitoes and those weird floating like octopus things. I can't remember what they're called. There's Lost as well, whatever. Yeah, I would say those are the scariest. Even though they may not be as consistent, I do find them more scary than the ticks, if anything. And he says another creature here. So I would put snaily gasters because I definitely run into them more than I also think that what is that other creature? The big ram like creature that's freaking deadly. Those guys are pretty freaking creepy. Once again, stuff like assaultrons and such. But ticks, it's almost as laughable as the rad roach one. I'm sorry.
team would then eventually flee the
Then he
mine,
talks
giving it
about now. Actually, the cultists are creepy just in like what they worship, but what they worship is more scary.
over to the
But
group. They would survive the Great War by
I
taking
do like
refuge here.
the
Sometime later, a
idea
Mothman cultist
of
named
this
Jeff Lane would
creature that he's talking about here, which is
report what
like
he
this
called a false memory regarding a
Lovecraftian
being he
looking
called
monster.
cultists would either die out or leave the
But it's dead. It's freaking dead. It's not moving. It's not alive. There's none of them yet in the game, or it's not even consistent in the game. It's just something you briefly see dead on the ground. I would not count this just because it doesn't actually do anything And once again, you need lore, and it's in a specific area. So it has all. I think if you're going to do a list like this, you need to set some ground rules. I'm gonna watch the beginning again though to see what he how he talks about this, because maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself on some of these things, but I do not agree with this creature just for those factor reasons alone. So yeah, this is the one. I do
I
agree
made this
with this
entire
one,
video to talk
but
about
here's
the
my
Wendigo
problem with this.
Colossus. Legend says that a
So Wendigo Colossus, I definitely do agree with on one problem, though. Well, probably a couple of problems. This is not a consistent creature. You only run into this when you are uh, going into like a nuked area. You, there's like almost no other way you run into this thing, and it's not as consistent even if you do. So I would not include this. I would have just straight up included just regular Wendigos. I have run into Wendigos way more than that thing, and I do think they're a little bit more consistent, mostly in the trees and stuff, but they definitely do are more freaky. I would count them over this thing. But yeah, let's see what he says in the beginning here because I do want to.
discretion is advised. The year is 1456. The son of the Voivode of Wallachia has just through an insane amount of pain, being helped captive at a young age, living through an invasion, surviving the murder of his family, being
Right?
sent to Hungarian prison, but also taking control of Wallachia 3 times. He wasn't a very good guy, but to this day he's still considered a national hero in Romania, so I guess the guy must have done something right. Now you may be asking yourself, Professor Six, what does this random Wallachian guy have to do with the Fallout universe? Well, my irradiated pupil, let me tell you. Vlad had an obsession. Those he captured in combat were brought before him. He would impale them on large wooden stakes, and I won't explain any more about the process because then I will never see a cent of advertiser money ever again. Just look it up. It's pretty gross. Anyways, in the end, Vlad was
Yes.
responsible for the deaths of anywhere from 40,000 to 100,000 people, many of them at the stake. There are also reports that he would drink his victims' blood, but these remain historically unconfirmed. In 1897, Bram Stoker would publish a book called Dracula, with the main character being heavily implied to be Vlad, having everyone's favorite franchise, Twilight. Vlad Tepes was
Uh,
seen as a monster walking in human skin. Many of the original monsters that have inspired creepy creatures today have Vlad to thank, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Fallout is notorious for having some of the coolest but also creepiest monsters in games, so in this video I will be going through every mainstream Fallout game and discussing the top 3 scariest creatures in them. Keep in mind this is subjective, so something I may find
okay, so yeah, it is subjective, but if I'm doing a video like this and I title it this way, uh, yeah, subjective. Even subjectively, you're not more scared of blood bugs? I don't know. I feel like even subjectively, those would be scarier than rad roaches. So it's again, I did link his video. I don't have a problem in general, other than I do think some of the picks, well, I can see why from his perspective, unless he doesn't have a fear of them. Uh, I don't know. I just thought that like red roaches, as well as some of them are unfair because they're not really consistent throughout the game. I think you need to set some ground rules with that.
creepy may not be creepy to you. If you think of any other creatures or people that you think are terrifying, put them down in the comments. Just keep in mind, when you really look into it, the scariest beings in Fallout aren't the creatures, they're the humans.
So, okay, I'm gonna stop there because that's probably copyrighted music. But anyways, that's just what I wanted to share on that. It is good that he says subjective at the beginning. I will agree with that. Is this a channel I want to watch more stuff on? Let me see. I just want to take a peek because this is a good video.
Warning, the content
Let's pause this. See, Heroes of the Wasteland. Oh, he's got some Fallout stuff I might be interested in. I don't know why I haven't run into this guy in a bit here. Sixes. I feel like I've heard the name, or haven't run into this guy in general, is what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of messing up my words. Yeah, I would probably watch this guy. I watch Fallout content from time to time. I just think that some of his picks were kind of, I don't know, Lame. It is good that he lets you know it's subjective, but I do think that like there are way scarier things even from like a subjective point of view, as well as laying down some ground rules would have helped. And I don't think he entirely does. Let's see here.
Bethesda designer Ferret Baudouin in multiple
Okay.
games, but I feel the floater from Fallout 1 takes the cake for the scariest.
Also, are the floaters the same things as the ones brought into Fallout 76? That would be kind of cool. They do look different from those though. Those are very more octopus looking. Let's see what else there was.
Look, y'all, the first game didn't give me a lot to
So I
work with
think
on
this
this list other than the
was,
next one, but the more I looked into this thing, the more I felt genuinely
what is
creeped
it?
out. Big Rat is an animal that is described
Okay, big rat. So this was, this really isn't that scary. But I guess back in the day it would work better. Oh, they're in London? Fallout London? Interesting.
as smaller than a
But
giant.
yeah, I don't have many complaints about his because he puts the master and the villain of the second game on Frank. What's his name? I actually have the playing card of him, by the way, from Magic the Gathering, which I'm glad that I have. I can't remember his name. It's Frank something. Let's see. Oh yeah, these things definitely agree. That's
V
a
experiment
centaur, I
conducted by
believe.
the Master, and by Fallout 2, they have learned to survive on their own in the wasteland. They were originally
Yeah,
created in Mariposa military base by tossing a mixture of
I
humans, dogs,
definitely
and other
agree with
animals
that.
into the vats.
Oh, and this is
Blew up
like
the
based on Alien,
dynamite stores located in the
kinda.
mine, trapping the creatures in their nest.
Yeah,
So
these things. I do agree with this as well. So I think his Fallout 1 and 2 are pretty good. It's when he gets to 3 and so on, and especially 4 and 76, that I'm like, the ghouls really need to be on the list. I guess because you could also argue that consistency might ruin the fear factor of them. I can see that as an arguing point, but I would still say ghouls freak me out from time to time. They are in the scariest places, and they are the scariest. Their movement, how freaking quick they are, their design. I definitely think they should have been on the Fallout 3 stuff, Fallout 3 scale somewhere. But I do agree with his centaurs. Um, I just think you need to lay down a few ground rules for a list like this. I don't know. That's just me. I don't want to feel like have people feel like I'm trying to attack this guy's video. That's definitely not the purpose. I just saw this video, watched it, and was like, how about this? How about blood bugs? Where are they? Where are those freaking bastards? But yeah, I agree with like at least half of this video. uh, and some parts in 3 and such. And and once again, I can see the points of view of the other creatures and such. I never think a human is scary though, so Gary is just kind of silly to me. I never find humans in these games scary. I guess the idea of if you were actually coming face to face with a raider or another dangerous human being, of course that's freaking scary. Also, if you're wondering what all this stuff is, this is just stuff I'm gonna watch on my own time. I should watch the actual video that this is based on, but I just ran into Renegades React. And then where was it? So I was just listening to some Megadeth. Sadly, had an ad play, and then I wanted to listen to Warlock. Love Warlock. All we are, all we are. And then I want to listen to some Silent Hill 4 music. But yeah, there's that Disturbed music video, by the way. You know what I was thinking for some, I'll say it here, for some live streams? There are going to be live streams that I wanted to do where um, so sadly, I'd never want to be on Kick though because they're mostly funded by like gambling money and such. I don't think I'd want to be a part of Kick because of that. But if I wanted to do stuff that would give me the freedom to do it and people would be able to watch, but I'd still be somewhat fair use because I would at least be commentating or making my own discussion, as well as I'd have friends with me to do the same thing. Like if I wanted to do like a movie watch along live stream with my friends and we'd all be commentating, making jokes, all that crap on movies, that would be awesome. And then like music. But what I might do, because uh, I don't want copyright claims or even especially copyright strikes, is I did a Sonic video, Sonic slash Halo for some reason. I just felt like listening to Crush 40 while I played Halo 2. So I did a live stream. I had to take it down because, of course, the music was copyright claimed. So maybe I'll do these one shot, like, you better catch it before it disappears kind of live streams where I'll just take it down afterwards. And I'll try not to commentate too much so that there's not much you're missing. But yeah, it'll probably be something like that where it's like it's up. I'll be listening to some music in the stream. You can vibe with me if you want. I might even sing along to the music. If you don't like my singing voice, you can leave. I don't know. Or maybe I'll even mute myself. I don't know. But I wanted to do something like that, and that would be fun, so that I could share with other people like what my some of my favorite music is. I've listened to Doom music in some of my videos and streams before, so I thought, hey, let's do some other music like Disturbed and such, and a Megadeth, Metallica, whatever, Halloween, um, Iron Maiden, whatever it may be. But yeah, that would be cool to do. It just would be a one-shot thing. Stream would be up, then immediately deleted afterwards, just because I don't want to be hit with a bunch of claims. When I did that Sonic one, while the claims weren't nearly as bad as I'm sure a lot of other stuff would get, uh, I don't want to reach that point. So it would be it would be up and then gone. So I'll see if I can do that. I'll even discuss with my friends about the idea, what they think, and yeah, and you can tell me what you think as well, like what you would contribute or have to say if I did something like that. I don't know. That's something I thought would be just kind of fun, relaxing stuff. I'm playing a game, vibing to some music that would honestly, if I kept it up, would get my channel definitely copyright striked or something. If I kept those, because I do have one copyright strike on my channel, but it is not my fault. It was the fault of a game that had a bunch of copyrighted music that I left on there. It was also in the early stages of my YouTube channel's life too, where it was this game called Dirt 4, and it had copyright music playing, and it was one of my "Is it worth your memory" videos, where I'm just talking about, oh, is this game worth the memory space, because it was free for Xbox Live that year. And then I found out my channel in November of whatever year, probably 2015, 16, whatever, it was taken down. It was striked once because there was a copyright music in that thing. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? That is dumb. It should not have been struck, though. That was ridiculous. That was stupid. I don't even remember a lot of the stuff and like to why that happened. And it was one of the dumbest things ever. Frick you, Dirt 4. Frick you. That was absolutely unfair and stupid. I should actually make a video talking about that separately. I should talk about that separately because I feel like YouTube really did me dirty and treated me unfair on that. Frick you, YouTube. Frick you. Maybe there's something I didn't understand there, but from what I remember, it was just one. It was
Some
like,
creatures of
it was not even literally like multiple songs. It was one song. I think because I kept the video up and didn't like um dispute it or whatever the frick it was going on, the copyright claim, it eventually over time was like, okay, you didn't dispute this fast enough or whatever, so we're striking you. That is not freaking fair. That is not freaking fair. Frick you, YouTube. Frick you. Pieces of you sons of bitches. Or whatever. Whatever you daughters of bitches, you I don't know, you're just bitches. You're just bitches. That is unfair. That was stupid. Frick you. Screw you. Frick off. Get out of my face with that crap. I'm glad I didn't get another thing of that. That's why I'm so on edge and so worried when it comes to copyright claims and putting music like that in my videos, is because it's just like, oh, that one thing, that one freaking thing. It's like, frick off. Piss off. Seriously. That was the dumbest thing ever, though. Sorry for keeping this on screen really long if you're terrified of it. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to talk about. If you did enjoy, remember to like, share, and subscribe. This was just meant to be a quick little stream. I'll be doing a longer stream sometime. I don't know like what I want to do. I might do some I want to do Godzilla, that Godzilla game. God, I'm scared about the music in that. Toho is really harsh on you in Godzilla stuff, and I want to play Giga Bash, but I don't know how I'm going to do that because I would buy it on Steam, but I don't have the money right now for that. But otherwise, I would get it, and we would be able to do that. But I have to see like what's going on. Things have been a little, yeah, a little crazy right now, but yeah, as well as I got sick recently. So I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below if you did, and I will see you.